Next on Worcester News tonight, police say a dead dog found inside an Auburn home had been there for months. Now the homeowner is facing animal cruelty charges. Plus, 80 acres in Berlin will help create the largest single piece of conservation land east of Worcester. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Lemon. We begin tonight with a disturbing case out of Auburn. A man is charged with animal cruelty after police say his dog was found dead in the basement. It's unclear how long the dog had been there due to how badly the body was decomposed. And as our Roslyn Flaherty explains, it was another issue that led investigators to the discovery.
The Board of Health has had issues with the home, and when they went to inspect it in August, that's when they found a dog tied to a pole. A disturbing picture shows where police found the remains of a dog inside an Auburn home. The Lab Husky mix was tied to a pole with a 2.5-foot rope in the basement. Police say the animal was left there for months.
It's disgusting.
The owner of the home, 26-year-old Eric Hannon, is charged with animal cruelty. Police say the discovery came after the Board of Health inspected the home in August. Auburn's animal control officer knew Hannon had a dog named Athena. The dog was microchipped last year after she got loose, and a scan confirmed the dog's identity.
I kind of wondered what was going on because there were so many police officers there.
According to police, Hannon said he left Athena tied to the pole when he went to visit his girlfriend in February of 2018. He told police when he returned home his basement flooded and his dog was dead. He said he wasn't sure if the dog drowned or was electrocuted and was afraid to investigate further. The details leaving neighbors concerned.
I don't understand how any human being could do anything like that. It's deplorable.
Court documents state Hannon was remorseful about the dog's death, but he moved a short time later without taking further action. The documents say due to the high level of decomposition, the cause of death will likely never be determined.
So sad. Like I said, I just don't understand how anyone could do that.
Hannon was arrested over the weekend after failing to appear in court on October 10th. He is scheduled to be arraigned tomorrow. Roslyn Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
A carbon monoxide leak in Leicester sent 3 people to the hospital Monday night. First responders were called for a report of an unresponsive person in an apartment building on Stafford Street around 11 p.m. Firefighters found high levels of carbon monoxide throughout the building. All residents were evacuated as crews worked to determine the cause of the leak. The fire department says the cause was traced to a gas hot water heater. And take a look at these flames from a tractor-trailer fire on the Pike early Tuesday morning. State police say the driver thankfully got out in time. The fire was on the eastbound lane in Charlton. The right and breakdown lanes were closed for hours as crews cleaned up the scene. The cause of the fire is under investigation. 165 million. It's the number of snack-sized pies TableTalk made last year. This year, the Worcester-based business is hoping to reach the 200 million mark. All of their pies go through a flash freezer immediately after baking. To help increase its production numbers, the company is expanding its development at the South Worcester Industrial Park. An almost 30,000 square foot storage freezer is being installed.
I think it will really help our operations. Just make it more efficient and also just a chance to invest in Worcester.
And TableTalk Pies expects construction to begin next month and for the project to be complete by the spring of 2019. Worcester's Board of Health is looking at new ways to educate students about what can sometimes be an uncomfortable topic. The public school system's sex ed curriculum is expected to change and be more in-depth. Our Brittany Schaefer joins us now with the details. Brittany?
Olivia, currently the district doesn't have any set rules on sexual education. Under the new proposal, health classes would be required to teach about 8 hours of sexual health topics in a variety of topics. Worcester Board of Health votes in support of a comprehensive sexual education curriculum in the Worcester Public Schools. The city's Commissioner of Health and Human Services says what's being taught now isn't enough.
It's not sufficient. It's not recommended for all age levels. Since there's no set curriculum, each teacher picks what they want to teach, and so They can teach anything that they feel comfortable with.
According to the Centers for Disease and Control, comprehensive sexual education works. Research shows there is a 12% decrease in sexual activity and a 31% decrease in sexually transmitted infections.
Outcomes aren't good if it's just abstinence alone. So we look at things like having healthy relationships, how to give consent and how not to give consent. Then we have a whole LGBTQ community that really needs to also access sex education.
But the school administration's proposed plan received backlash.
We took a look at it and people passed it to friends or other groups and so on. And at that time, there were people that had some pushback on it.
It's why the school committee voted down the program last month. Member Diana Biancaria says it needs more fine-tuning before it's introduced in the schools.
Let's take the book back. Let's figure out how we have to work to ensure that there are some educational pieces in there that are necessary and some pieces that perhaps needed to be eliminated. Holding off on it, I don't think is going to create any havoc in our schools.
But Dr. Maddie Castile says now is the time to act to protect school-age children.
I think it's time, and it's been time for a number of years, that we should be doing this.
Biancaria says the proposal will be brought up during Thursday's committee meeting. She says she hopes the curriculum will be introduced next semester. Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
Every child born or adopted in Massachusetts will be eligible for a free $50 deposit into a college savings account. The state treasurer announced the statewide program will take effect in January 2020. Parents and guardians will be able to open a U-Fund 529 college savings account and receive the $50 deposit through the Massachusetts Educational Financing Authority.
Show that when kids, even a small amount of money set aside, are 3 times more likely to go to college and 4 times more likely to graduate from college. And that's what this is all about.
This program originally started in 2015 as a pilot program in Worcester and Munson, designed to empower families to plan and save for their child's future. With views of Boston, land in Berlin is now protected and can no longer be altered or developed. Tuesday, the town celebrated the purchase of 80 acres of land that will be used for things like hiking and sightseeing. Our Chandler Walsh joins us now with the details. Chandler?
Olivia, the land was previously family-owned for decades. The town has been working to secure funds to purchase it for several years and have now been able to through a federal land and water conservation fund. A jackknife ribbon cutting, and the Berlin Conservation Commission celebrates adding about 80 more acres of protected land. The commission's Walter Bickford says it's one of the most important purchases in his 72 years in town.
When I was a kid up on Mount Pisgah and hearing the stories of this area and the farmers and looking off there, looking towards Boston, you know, this always should have been protected.
Thanks to this new addition, the town of Berlin now owns the largest single piece of conserved land east of Worcester at about 400 acres. It's filled with wildlife habitats and trails like this one on Mount Pisgah.
There's wetlands here and red maple swamps. Then you get in the oaks going up the slope. Deer, coyote, I've seen bobcat tracks.
About 1/3 of the town is preserved space. State Representative Harold Naughton says it allows Berlin to keep its roots while the town is developing at its borders.
It really hasn't affected the quality of life. Berlin is still a small, bucolic country town that people enjoy living in, like something you would have seen 40 or 50 years ago.
This land purchase is the result of a 6-year effort with the Sudbury Valley trustees to secure a more than $100,000 federal grant. The group walked into the wilderness Tuesday for a celebratory hike. Land protection specialist Ashley Davies says the land can no longer be altered or developed.
It's not zoned for industrial commercial use, but it would have been probably a large residential development.
Bickford says the acquisition connects preserved land on either side and is home to one of the best views in this part of the state.
If you go up in the overlook, you can see the Prudential and that John Hancock Tower.
People think you need to go west to the Berkshires or north to New Hampshire or Vermont to see land like this, and they don't.
State Rep Naughton says housing east of Berlin is getting increasingly congested and pushing west because of it. He says it will only get more intense, so it's important to keep protecting land. Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
The two candidates running for the 2nd Congressional District seat met Monday night at Mechanics Hall for a debate. 22-year incumbent Jim McGovern took on first-time challenger Republican Tracy Lavvorn. The candidates went back and forth on a variety of issues in the district. Our Cam Jandro has more.
Congressman Jim McGovern and Republican challenger Tracy Lavvorn wasted little time disagreeing with each other.
He's been there for 22 years. All these issues, he's never addressed them.
I think I'm kind of a nice guy, and I think I've been a hell of a good congressman.
The two sparred on a variety of topics like health care, economic development, and the environment. McGovern says he wants to continue working for the people in the 2nd Massachusetts Congressional District.
So in addition to issues like health care and climate change and infrastructure and, and jobs, the issue of decency is on the ballot.
Lavvorn, a Grafton resident, won the Republican primary in September with more than 60% of the vote. The first-time candidate says she wants to work to end the opioid crisis and unite people.
They want people that yeah, they fight, they might not always agree, but at the end of the day, they still get work done. They still have the best interest of the country.
Lavvorn is McGovern's first opponent since redistricting in 2012. She says the district and Congress needs a fresh face.
And there's people that have a voice, that they're not being listened to, they're not being heard, and I want to provide the opportunity to listen to them and actually share their views down in D.C.
McGovern, who sits on the House Rules Committee, says he feels he has a lot more to offer.
I want to go to Washington to hopefully be in the majority and to be able to get some things done for the working people of my district.